皆様、ようこそ
Ladies and
AISUM2020
gentlemen,
with CTEX にいらっしゃいま
welcome
した。
to AI
こちら
AISUM2020
ホール B
with
での本日の
CTEX
セッションを
2020.
これから始めたいと思い
Let
ま
us
す。
start the
最初
session
のセッ
at
ションは
Hall B.
スタート
The
アップシ
first
ョーケース
session
ニュ
is
ーノーマ
Startup
ル時代の
Showcase,
人の仕事を支える日
introducing
本の
AI
AI
tech
技術です。
supporting the work of
こ
new
のセッション
normal
の司会
era.
は国内最大級の
As
AI 専門
moderators,
メディア
we have
AI
welcomed
Now 編集長の小沢健こと小沢健さん
Kensuke
が小沢
Ozawa,
健
Chief
介さんが
Editor
務
of
めます。
AINOW Deep
小沢さんよろしくお
Corporation.
願いします。
Ozawa-san, thank you very much. Thank you. This is Ozawa. My nickname is Ozawa-ken. Let me briefly introduce myself. So, I am the Chief Editor of AI Now. My name is Kensuke Ozawa. The last 4 years, I have focused on AI and I have conducted interviews. And last year, I was covering AISUM, and today, it's a pleasant surprise for me that I was invited as the moderator. So thank you, everyone. I'm engaging in other work such as a camera crew, and also I'm engaging in the AI research at the lab in university. So I'm working on a wide range of activities. So I invite you to freely give us comment using the comment column. So let me introduce myself. My name is Shiho Takai. I'm working in the Marketing Communication Division at LeapMind the last 4 years, and also I'm doing the work of broadcaster that reads the news articles. So listening to the way you speak, I had the impression that you are a professional broadcaster. And thank you. Looking forward to working with you today. So the theme today is introducing AI tech supporting the work of new normal era. So the key theme is to support human activities with AI. Japan's AI strategy looks at human-centric AI as the core component of the strategy. So moving forward, human beings must be placed at the core. And in your day-to-day life, I'm sure you are working on AI startups. And what is your take? Yes. So based upon the results that AI come up with, people can make our lives richer. So looking at the startups activities, I feel potential. So today we have welcomed 7 startups, and I'm excited to hear their presentations. So the challenges that the startups are working on, hopefully we could listen to. And also we would like to deepen our insight as to how AI is going to evolve from here. Thank you. With that, so let me briefly explain our proceedings today. Now, each startup will present their material for 5 minutes, and after that, we are going to have Q&A for each of the 7 startups based upon questions from the participants. So, without any further ado, let us start. The first firm, Shino-san, please introduce the first firm. The first startup firm is EMO. Saori Shigami. At EMO, they are utilizing an app that records emotions and talks with AI robot. So now please go ahead.
Hello, I am Chikami with EMO. EMO is always there for you. We offer virtual AI robot. Our company was established back in March 2019. We are a startup. With seed round, we raised fund. VC2 companies and Angel kindly offered fund to us. And I would like to share my background, why I started this business. When I was a college student, I was mentally unstable, and I couldn't consult with anyone because I was so scared. So I wanted someone that's not human that I can trust and ask for advice, I wasn't sure how I should respond. So I wanted to develop something that could consult with other people. So that's how I started AI chat robot. And according to the study under COVID-19, there are a lot of people who are under stress. 78% of respondents said that they have anxiety and are stressed. And 82% of respondents said that they want to get help from robot rather than people. So mental health support demand is growing. So that is why we developed Emo. It's an app. So you can have a conversation with AI chatbot and share your concerns and check your mental health so that you can cure yourself. And digital therapy is provided with the lecture from AI. With chat and game contents, you can have a good time to have therapy. And this therapy is based on ACT. It's a third-generation behavior therapy model. So we combine mindfulness skills to maintain and restore mental health. And users ask for advice, and AI can check the condition. And based on conversation with AI, AI recommends relevant contents. And starting from this May, we began to offer MO work for corporates. More than 250 accounts have registered. And we conduct interview with AI, and based on situation, we offered job support such as digital therapy for mild risk, and we also offer consultation with moderate risk, and we introduce industrial physician counselor for those with high risks. And we ask different types of questions and different number of questions depending on your condition. So we have been working with Juntendo University and Waseda University to offer evidence-based value proposition. We have been offering values in accordance with demand. Let me talk about strengths. We have obtained more than 10 million conversation data sets for personalization, emotion, sleep, physical condition, and also life events such as taking entrance exam and getting jobs have been included in our data set. And we have also different types of input formats such as text and choices and ranges. Without compromising user experience, we are able to capture necessary data. And also we have very strong AI character. According to survey, we asked, what is AI like to you? And more than 80% of people said that AI is more like friends and pet. And if you look at the mental health situation in Japan and the US, well, we see advancement in Japan and US in terms of 1.0 and 2.0. But in terms of 3.0, you see some advancement in the United States, but not in Japan. So we are trying to obtain number one position in 3.0 stage. And partly because of COVID-19, we see more conversation with emo. On average, 18 conversations are made with AI, which is bigger than the conversation with Line. And so far, as mental health apps, we believe that emo is enjoying high awareness. As of today, we have 230,000 downloads have been made. So we are aiming at offering mental care service platform so that people's mental condition can improve with our offering. Once again, emo is considerate of people's feelings. Thank you so much for your attention.
近見様ありがとうございました。
Ms. Chikami, thank you so much.
Q&A に入り
Now I'd like to move on to Q&A session.
小沢さんからお願いします。
Ozawa-san, over to
コ
you.
メントなどでも質問があればいただければ
If you have
と思い
any
ます。
questions, use the
時
comment
代に必要なサービスだなというふうに
section.
思いました
I think this is exactly the service that we need under COVID-19. People are alone, you may be lonely, you don't you may not have a lot of opportunities to see people. So under COVID-19, do you see growing number of inquiries as well as users? Yes, we have a consumers version as well as corporate version. For consumer versions, people spend more time with app, definitely. And the number of conversation is also increasing as well as the number of download. And as for corporate version, because people work from home, many people work from home, some people are struggling to maintain or manage mental health. So we have been receiving a lot of inquiries from corporates asking for support. So under COVID-19, what kind of complaints, should I say, what kind of concerns that people share with emo? Is there anything that you can share? Well, I don't know if it's to do with COVID-19. I think many people have concerns and also problems that you may not be able to share with other people. When you see people, let's say, you go to lunch with friends and you can share your concerns with them, but you can't do that anymore. You have no choice but to share those with AI robot. People sometimes complain about other people, and if you have some family issues, I know that there are a lot of people who are having some family issues, but you can't really share those with other people. But you can do that with AI to control your mental health. So you may have a virtual girls talk session. So there are more female users? Yes, definitely. More than, close to 80% of users are female. So, Suita-san, you may want to download that. Yeah, it's like a pad. It can be like a friend. Yeah, I'm very impressed with the character. You have a human counselor. You may be nervous to speak to her or him, but this character is so cute, so accessible. Sure. You can share your complaints and you can heal yourself. So, how did you come up with this character? Well, it looks like an amoeba. Well, when I thought about it, I wanted to make something that would heal people. So I wanted to make it round, and I chose white as color. And I used to add legs, but I took them out. All right, thank you. Well, I think this could resonate with not just female users, but also male users. I believe that male boys also have some challenges, so you can try and see how it works. Chikami-san, thank you. Thank you.
それでは次のスタートアップに登壇いただきます。続いては
Next startup is Sportive. Mr. Takaku. Sportive provides exercise guidance with AI. This is a University of Tsukuba venture. Now, please go ahead. Can I start? Yes. Thank you very much. I'm Takaku from Sportive. Our intention is to provide AI courts to each person. So this originates from Tsukuba University. So the guidance on exercises being replaced with AI. Now we are enhancing and advancing the sophisticatedness of the exercise guidance by using AI. Initially, for 12 years, I was playing baseball, and my instructor was teaching me how to play baseball based upon intuition, and my body started screaming for help, and I was forced to quit. And I figured that was because people were human beings teaches with using intuition, and that's not effective. And that I thought was the cause for my body starting to call for help. I think it applies not just for but also to other fields as well. And I'm working on B2B area with this service. Now, under COVID-19 situation, the fitness club is facing difficulty now as business. So they're finding difficulty finding new members, and also the churn rate tends to be high, and the data are managed manually. So to resolve all those challenges, we are providing Sportive Pro. By utilizing AI, we visualize the behaviors of people and to satisfy the users. So we analyze the movements of body and come up with the results in 1 second. So under COVID-19, online fitness version, Zoom version fitness and services are being provided as well. What it means is that when the quality of instruction goes up, then end users get satisfied and the new members go up and the churn rate goes down and the sale goes up for the fitness centers. And those fitness centers that introduce our services experienced increase in the ratio of new membership joining the club by 70%. So the fitness centers are quite satisfied with our services, saying that it's very effective in attracting new members. So, and we receive monthly fee based upon the number of terminals. And for example, the J League team and also the schools and also and other clinics are utilizing our services. So it's been 3 months since we've released the services, and 130 trainers use and adopted our services, and 4,500 end users are using it, and more than 20,000 data points have been collected. So now, in addition to B2B market, we are working on the market of orthopedic clinics, and also we are considering the start of B2C business. So now, based upon the data collected from B2B business, we are intending to spread it to B2C territory on a global scale as well. And for B2C, we have already started POC. So this is a training gym where the users can receive personalized guidance from AI alone. So this is the actual screen on the left. You see the users moves, and on the right you see the trainer, and the user can receive feedback on the form, and also the form of their body movement receives scores, and also those scores can be compared with the user's friends. So this is how it works. Users can check their body movement, and on the right you see the instructor. So not just only with AI, but you can see the movement of instructor. So these services can be looked at as having the elements of games, and users can use these services in wherever they are. And this service can be applied to yoga and stretch and other types of fitness. So we have launched alpha version service, and we have received feedbacks. So the users are receiving feedbacks from the AI, and they are satisfied with the quality of feedback, and also they enjoy the point that where they can work, enjoy it with friends. So this is a startup venture that originates from University of Tsukubas and based upon the specialty areas of specialty such as physiology. And in addition, by utilizing the individual's data, sophisticated AI analytics can be conducted three-dimensionally using just one camera, and also based upon the analysis of the movement of body, the patents has been secured. So AI provides guidance, and also that introduces elements of games. At the same time, we reduce costs, so all good points are captured there. So the high churn rate that has been the long-lasting challenge for the fitness industry is being worked on head-on, and not just fitness, but rehabilitation and the prevention of frailness and sports. And those are the potential areas that we could target, and at the same time, we would like to do this globally. So our aim is to provide AI coach to each and every user. That's all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Takaku. So let's move on to Q&A. Thank you very much. So participants, I welcome you to give us comments and questions. So comparing the two cases, a human instructor giving instruction and AI-based instruction, does it make any difference in terms of users building their body in terms of muscles? So In AI-based system uses numerical factors. So, for example, not just a verbal instruction, but the instruction is more numerical, such as your body should be bent in such and such degrees or something. So I do exercise, but it's difficult to continue, for example, especially after the drinking. So this the solution really stays close to people with AI. So you are working on B2B territory now, but what is the feedback from the trainers at gyms? So the opinions are split right now. So some instructors are concerned about the possibility that they might lose their job, but others are quite positive, and as those people say that they could focus on coaching while teaching could be entrusted to the AI. So for teaching, based upon numbers, AI could do that. But as for coaching, it should be based on person-to-person communication. That's, I believe, what that person was saying. Yes. Another thing that captured my mind is the elements of game that would be quite instrumental in keeping the retention rate. And what kind of elements of a game are you considering introducing into the services? As you saw in the presentation, not just giving scores, but since we are analyzing the body movement, so we could create avatar and have avatar train on behalf. So anyone can be the trainer. It could be the avatar or some celebrity or whoever. For example, superhero, like a Kamen Rider, could be the avatar that gives instruction to the user. Yes. Okay, I could deepen my understanding. So, sportive services, I'm quite interested. Thank you very much for the presentation. Now, it's time. So, Mr. Takaku, thank you very much.
So it is during the session, we would like some requests to those who are here today. In the live streaming, we do have some problems. We do apologize that, but please avoid using unless it is very essential. So the fourth company, excuse me, the third company, startup company, please welcome Speak Buddy, Mr. Tsuyoshi Tateishi. At Speak Buddy, they use the latest art, AI technology, and language learning theory. They've developed an AI English conversation apps. Tateishi-san, please, the floor is yours. So I'm from Speak Buddy. I'm Tateishi. So what I want to introduce you today, utilizing AI technology, the English way of learning English under a new normal, English conversation apps, Speaks Buddy. The online English conversation meetings are rising, and there are a lot of inbound tourists. And for a long period, the necessity of English, we believe, is going to increase. However, among the Japanese people, the English level, as the Japanese language is the most opposite to that of English, unfortunately, it's very hard to say that the Japanese speaks good English. However, we have to do something about this. So when we thought about the challenges of the current English conversation issues, first, if you can go abroad and study, but if you're working, that's very, very hard. Secondly, one-on-one classes, it's 1 hour, 8,000 yen, it's very, very expensive, so you can't pay for that. And number 3, online English is nice and cheap, but the teacher changes each time. And fourthly, people say that you can make a friend at a bar, but I can assure you, I tested that at Hub, it doesn't work. However, but if we use AI apps, all of these challenges, issues can be resolved at any time, anywhere. And the expense is only merely 1,950 yen per month. And the AI analyzes and proposes you the most optimal way of studying. And English is no longer scary or shy. So I want to show you a 50-second video. With voice recognition, you can do a conversation. With AI technology, you can also score your English conversation level. So this is my level. The contents increases each month. The phonetic analysis will also give you the syllables. And you can also have a free conversation, free talks. This is the latest way to learn English. The Speaks Buddy, the recognition is not so high at the moment, but in the apps education stores, we have been able to keep the pole position for a long period of time. The AI technology, we use 4 technologies, and we realize is free talks, the conversation AI, the voice recognition, which is the understanding the phonetics. And in terms of the English composition, it has the natural language processing and also machine learning. You're able to do the overall scoring of your English. Further, the AI conversation, as the top runner, we have a lot of data coming along, so the precision of machine learning increases, and we are able to determine the English conversation level at a high level. This is something that is currently under developing, but free talk. Please see the demo. Based on what I say, the response by AI changes. What AI was weak, it's able to have free conversations. So let's see a conversation in a different flow. So what I say is different, the response by AI is also different. If you say a good thing, you're able to establish a good relationship with the AI. As such, even with these complex conversations, in today's era, that is now possible. So these natural language processing and machine learning, we utilizes AI to score the level of English based on CEFAL, which is the international standards, within just 10 minutes. And we also have this function that to do this level test. So we look at the English conversation level from 5 perspectives, so that's why it's accurate and it's very clear where you need to improve. Speaks Buddy, we also can provide this to corporates and have been utilized by many companies. So this is tips which operates Vital. We had surveyed them to check the level of their employees of 200 using Speaks Buddy. The in-house English conversation. As we will be having machine learning, there are people who say that's unnecessary. However, that's the very opposite. Even with the machine translation, the more this goes, I believe that there is going to be more need for English. And a lot of the complex meetings, in order for you to be able to build trust, you have to speak in your own language. So in other words, to be able to speak in that common language, that finally reaches to the people's heart. So this is why we are trying to resolve these issues about learning English towards a multilingual world under this mission. AI English conversation where you are truly able to acquire, and that era is just there. Speak Buddy, this was Tateishi. If you are interested in our business, please contact us through Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening. Mr. Tateishi, thank you very much. Now, moving on to Q&A. So we've already had 2 YouTube comments, so let me introduce that. First off, so Watanabe-san has asked a question. You said that you've been #1 in terms of sales. So in order for you to have the users to use it for consistently, what kind of measures are you taking? Thank you very much. The Speak Buddy, for paid users, in average, they use it in average 8 months. And that's very rare for an app to be used for such a long period. And we have three, I think, issues that allows that. One, that AI creates the curriculum, and therefore it's very clear what you need to do every day. So today I need to take this test, so you don't have to think so much and do it daily and study. And another, in order to keep your motivation, the AI will, based on the lesson, give you a feedback. So phonetic, this pronunciation was wrong, this was wrong, you need to improve. If you get that feedback, you kind of feel good or you feel like you want to improve. I think that's the second strength. And I think the third point is that the level function, as the level score function, which I explained, you're able to understand what your level is. So you have the motivation to want to increase that level. So I think those three are the reasons why people continue to use our apps. Thank you very much. So I've been using this Speak Buddy for 3 months, and almost every day, sometimes I do forget, but almost every day I do it, and I think that's because there is a set curriculum, so you know that you can't skip today. And at the top, there is a weekly calendar from Monday to Sunday. On Wednesday, if I don't do it on Wednesday, I feel like, oh, why didn't I do it? So I think that's designed that way. So I will continue to utilize. And I have another question. What kind of users? What's the target of your user? So our target, we set it up for people who are working and working in society, which is how we developed. And when we look at the demographic data, I think those people in the 30s and 40s, that represents roughly 50% or more. And then later half of 20s. And we also do have some people who are in their 50s. So we wanted to, the reason why we target people who are working is that, of course, English conversation is necessary for students, but from my experiences, once you start working, you suddenly need the necessity to English. So you have to learn English whilst you are working, and that was very, very hard. And I wanted to help such people because I also myself experienced that. So, of course, you do need that for English university tests, etc. But I decided to target on people who are working. And especially at home in Japan, one-on-one English conversation, people say that, your English level doesn't increase. But going forward for elementary school, junior high school, and high school, what kind of methods do you want to implement? So English for tests. But I think, when the younger you are, you can absorb English. So I want people to study English from a young level. And I want to, going forward, provide services to students too. So during the COVID-19, we considered whether we could provide these classes to students for free, but it was very hard for us to define what students were. But we want to expand, widen it. And it's also Kumamoto High School have started to use Speak Buddy. So they're using this, trying to learn English, not just for tests, but trying to increase the level of English conversation. Thank you very much. So how long do you need to, I've been doing this for a long time, but how long, do you have a target and how long you study and then how long you can increase your level? So it really depends on the international standard CFR. So based on the CFR J, which is the Japanese base, the most bottom level, in order to increase the second level, so C1, there's 17 levels where we score the levels. And in order to increase one level in-house, we discussed that this is probably 3 months, and that's how we develop the apps. The more higher the level you become, it becomes harder to increase. But at least in average, I think in 3 months, you're able to increase one level. And also in daily data, we see the result that people increase 1.25 level in 3 months, I see. So in English conversation, there are a lot of services and it's really globalized. So I think there are ways that machine learning can't do, and I'm really looking forward to Speak Buddy, so I hope that I can continue 3 years and 4 years. Thank you very much. So Tateshi, thank you very much. So I think I've had Mr. Yamamoto-san also asking the questions. But I think that basically answered. So the level increases by 3 months. So in multilingual, other than English, you have to find teachers and you have to provide various languages. But utilizing AI technology, you're able to acquire various languages, not only English. Thank you very much.
Okay, so next we will move on to the fourth startup. Let's welcome Mr. Naosu with Mitas Medical. Mitas Medical offers smartphone connection type ophthalmic medical equipment. Hello, my name is Akita with Mitas Medical. Nice to meet you all. Our company was established back in 2017. Our mission is to provide medical services to the unreachable. And our mobile diagnostic tools for telemedicine can be used by non-ophthalmic doctors. When I was the ophthalmic doctor in Hokkaido, in small city or small town, old lady could not go through surgery and she lost her vision. So with that experience, I wanted to do something and developed this service. And I'd like to show you the video that captures our service. This features a clinic in small town where there is no ophthalmologist. But without concern, all you have to do is to equip our device with smartphone and shed a special light on patient eye and captures image with smartphone. And then use special app to record the conditions of eyes. Even if you are not an ophthalmologist, you can capture, register information, and then this information and images will be uploaded to cloud environment. And then ophthalmologist receives the information quickly and then give advice to clinic doctor in small town. And this is also compatible with mobile device. Once information is registered, you get the results on app, and a doctor in clinic can offer advice and make diagnosis. So we started to use AI for diagnosis, but we need a device to make that happen. If you look at the left, this is what we developed. One on the right is the device that used as the base. So doctor can check what's going on. You need to check, but it takes 1 to 2 years to make the best use of this special device. Special doctor alone or only can use this, but with our special device, with smartphone, non-ophthalmic doctor can use this. All we have to do is to use this to capture information and images. And the patent has been already received in Japan and also EU. And with the use of subsidy provided by METI, we did POC test in Mongolia. We contracted with a carrier, major carrier, and national university to make this happen. Why Mongol? Mongol is 4 times as large as Japan, and it's not populated, well, underpopulated, I should say. So if you look at the number of doctors per population, it's very low. Well, doctor has to cover a wider area. In terms of the coverage, Mongol is the second, actually, largest in terms of the area that one doctor has to cover, geographical coverage. And the number shown here is the number of doctor or ophthalmic doctor per province. So there is only 1 or 2 doctors in an area that is about the same size as Hokkaido. So patients have to travel a lot of time and also money to see a doctor, ophthalmic doctor. And some people lose vision because it takes time and money. So last year, we did a POC test. In 3 months, we were able to introduce this device in 18 villages. And 330 remote diagnoses were made to treat patients. And in comparison, to a case where they have to go to a hospital, it takes less time. And there was one case that we prevented sight loss. We were able to avoid sightless case. So we offer remote diagnosis system with the use of AI. We have been improving accuracy, and also we have been able to reduce time for diagnosis. And at the end, we were able to cut costs. In developing area, there aren't many ophthalmic doctors, so we'd like to promote this in developing nations, particularly in Asia and Africa. There is a lack of ophthalmologists. In Japan, there are a lot. Well, a green area indicates there are only a few ophthalmic doctors, 1 in 60 to 100,000 population. So with that, 36 million people lose sight because of lack of doctors. So challenges are seen in countries with few number of ophthalmologists and also larger geographical area. And it is expected that there are a lot of more people who could lose sight because of lack of ophthalmologists. So we'd like to offer this service to prevent that from happening. Mr. Kita, thank you so much. Ozaki-san, over to you. Thank you. Well, it sounds like you are doing a wonderful thing from the perspective of SDGs. In Japan, we don't really feel that there is lack of ophthalmologists. Yeah, because there are many in Tokyo. So many people go to see doctors, ophthalmic doctors, just to get contact lenses, right? But it takes time and it takes money, and so there is only one doctor in an area that is as large as Hokkaido in Mongolia, right? But you can capture a lot of data with your device. But there aren't enough doctors, ophthalmic doctors. It takes time to process data. Am I correct? But that's why you use AI. Yes, exactly. So because information is in a video format, so it takes time to diagnosis. So we put a system in place to be more efficient with the use of AI. So taking a photo is good enough to identify sickness or disease? Yeah, sometimes. We capture only the front, but also the front of eye. We would like to expand the scope. We'd like to develop a system so that our system can capture not just the surface, but also the back or the rear side of eye. So image alone can diagnose the disease. Yeah, that's something that we'd like to do in the future. So in the area of medical, AI has been attracting a lot of attentions to identify disease and also use internal medicine. But you are trying to use AI for eyes. What's going to happen if I continue to use PC, if my kids continue to see PC for so many years? I encourage my kids to take some time off. People around the world could be saved with your app. I hope that you can continue to grow so that you can save a lot of people around the world. Thank you so much.
Let's move on to the next startup. The next up is from Vacan. We have Mr. Kawano at Vacan. At all places, vacancy is visualized with AI and IoT to reduce necessary time spent. Now please go ahead. Thank you very much. I'm Kawano, Representative Director of Vacan. If you can enlarge the screen. Thank you. So at the Vacan comes from the word vacant. So we provide real-time information on vacancy in various places to avoid the situation where people are in a closed, crowded places. Our solution is simple. In 1 second, we tell people whether there is vacancy and to provide a user-friendly world. The reason why we started this service originates from my own experience. when I got married, I had only limited amount of time, so I started to value the time I have in one day. So when I take kids to commercial facilities, when we try to go to lunch, it took time, and the kids got not happy since it took time to find a restaurant to get into, and kids started crying and we had to leave. So I thought that if we could eliminate that kind of time, then everyone could feel more comfortable, and this could be used not just for restaurants but bathrooms and so on. So the real-time information on vacancy is what we would like to provide to people wherever they are. So that is the challenge we are taking up as a firm. Now, in this situation, so we started out as a service provider for the commercial facilities, train stations, and airports, and also restaurants, and also the inspection points at airports and bathrooms. So under COVID-19, today, we are in a situation where people are avoiding places that are crowded, but the business have to go on. So the balance between COVID-19 and economy has to be kept. And business operators are facing a lot of challenges under COVID-19. In this situation, what can we do? And we went back to our mission, and we concluded that what we could do is to provide insight into potential risks to people in general. And if users can select a place where they feel a peace of mind, then we thought that we could keep a good balance between risk and economy. So by visualizing the vacancy information, we believed we could give options to choose from to users. And at the same time, we can allow users to avoid crowded and closed places with close contact. Also, our solution is simple. We use AI and IoT technologies to realize this service of visualizing vacancy. It takes only 1 second, and this service is smartphone-based. So, but there are people who cannot use smartphone, but even those people, it's easy to use. It takes only 1 second for them. So for those people who cannot use smartphones, they can take a look at digital signage, and they can promptly tell where there's vacancy. And how we are realizing our services involves 3 steps. First, detection, how the current situation or situation is identified. And the second stage is analysis of the collected information, and we identify the level of crowdedness, because sometimes one camera cannot identify the reality, so we use a composite approach and provide users with the level of crowdedness, including how long they would have to wait. Then third step is the distribution. How do we distribute or display the information? The channel could be smartphones and also the digital signage. So these are the 3 steps: detection, analysis, and distribution. And based upon the 3 steps approach, we are visualizing the vacancy information. Specifically, who are adopting our services? First example is hotels. So this is a very old and venerable traditional Japanese hotel. So this hotel operator wants to give a peace of mind and comfort to their guests. So, and they attach importance to the public bathroom for the guests. And the way they use our service is to give guests information on the level of crowdedness at the public bathroom. The second example is the Tokyo Station. So within Tokyo Station, there is a section where there are cafes and restaurants. So sometimes it's difficult to make a reservation at popular cafes. So by utilizing AI technology, what we've done was we've analyzed the image of the current situation by capturing the length of the queue and the crowdedness within the space, and we've come up with this solution that utilizes digital signage to tell people how long the wait is going to be. So, for example, how people can utilize our service is if they want to go to a specific restaurant while they are still on the train, then they can utilize our services and they can plan ahead. And also, this is an example of a Japanese confectionery shop. So under COVID-19, they could not conduct various campaigns, but by giving information on crowdedness to their customers, they could conduct the campaign without concerns. So the information on the crowdedness on the commercial district and other places can be shown to people. And in touristy locations such as Hawaii and other touristy locations, people may feel scared about going to such places because of the crowdedness. But if they can receive information on the level of crowdedness, then the users can adjust their schedule to avoid crowded places. And finally, the vacancy of evacuation centers. So under COVID-19, people have to avoid crowded closed spaces. At the same time, there is need for the emergency evacuation centers. But in this situation, there's limit to the number of people that they can accept. So this is the example at Miyazaki Prefecture's evacuation center that was hit by typhoon, and 10,000 accesses were received utilizing our services to check the level of crowdedness at the emergency center. So not just in day-to-day lives, but in emergency settings, our services will come in handy. By visualizing the level of crowdedness, we can help people avoid the crowded places while providing easy to live, comfortable to live space to people. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for the presentation. So there are many examples where your services are being used, and there are wide ranges of areas that adopt your services. That's correct. So we target vacancy in any types of places. So there's a core technology that's at the center of the technology, but we are targeting various types of spaces. It was like you were anticipating the COVID-19 even before the arrival of COVID-19. So what kind of services are you providing your services to? Oh, it's a wide-ranging services such as restaurants and hotels and other sectors, and also the entirety of the local community, the city itself. The city government may want to revitalize the economy. So not just in day-to-day lives, but non-day-to-day lives, there could be need. For example, when the situation changes at the level of the city, then city officials are contacting us to consult on what they can change. I have a technical question. I believe it must have been difficult to develop that AI system. And you are looking at the queue or the crowdedness on the staircase, so I think it must have been difficult to develop the technology. Right. So what kind of technology we should use, and what's the quantity of the sensors? And so there are various types of settings. So there are different types of sensors and technologies that we have to combine. And so that's the approach we've taken. So for example, this sensor may not be used, but if we can combine two sensors, then we can effectively capture the crowdedness. That's an example. Not just a video image, right? Not just the video image, but a combination of video image and sensor data, then that minimizes the load on calculation. And what about the public bathhouse camera? It's the kind of technology used for the camera, but we are not capturing the inside of the bathroom because it's a private place. So of course we are mindful of that. So we are capturing the peripheral images and identifying the level of crowdedness. So recently there are multiple platforms that are coming up. For example, the gourmet website for the restaurants. So the store managers are putting information of crowdedness, but such information oftentimes is not accurate because in the time of era of IT, right now those actions are left to individuals. But if we use services such as Vacancy, then the real-time information can be captured immediately. Right. But even if people have to take actions, but AI services can help them do what they have been doing so that they can shorten the time they spend on what they've been already doing. So, in the past, I had to go to various restaurants to find places, and I was stressful. So this kind of service is very useful. Thank you very much for the presentation. Let's go to the next startup.
So next, we have Atteru, Mr. A. Tsukamoto. At Atteru, we try to identify active human resources, so we do a prediction that identifies. So Mr. Tsukamoto, the floor is yours. So I'm Atteru Tsukamoto. So the challenge is what our company thinks. At your company, in terms of hiring and attention, are you doing it really correctly? So let me ask you one question. So to the listeners, those who have been involved, I understand that there are many who have conducted in hiring, but do you think that you were more than an average in being able to identify people in these hiring interviews? So we did a survey, and roughly 70% thought that they were able to identify more than average. But on the other hand, 90% said that they've never checked that they've never quantitatively checked whether they were right. So many people who believe that they were right in terms of being able to identify hiring, being to understand who are vulnerable to stress, and if the engagement score is high, people tend not to leave. When you look at data, this tends to be wrong. So for example, for the interviewer and the evaluation post and joining, roughly 60% is wrong. That's some of the data shows that. So in many companies, the sense of feeling, intuition, and experience, they continue to make wrong hiring and assignments. So myself too, I studied machine learning and I was professional in data analysis. However, in my previous work, I had been conducting hiring based on subjectives, so I'd been making mistakes. And for the companies, and that it was a big loss, and that was very, very hard for me to understand. Therefore, at our company, we wanted to break away from HR based on individuals, from experience, intuition, and sense of feeling. At Atteru, we provide quantifiable methods for human resources to improvements. We do this on one stop, so we're able to provide people who are active and people who the retention rate is high. So if it's a sense of feeling, 37% we only know that utilizing machine learning adults, actually 60% are able to score correctly. Of course, as it is determined, this is somebody based on people, 100% data is not possible, but utilizing both of these tools, we are able to increase the score quite a lot. So for example, the way we use this, so for the existing employees, we quantify that, and then we multiply the evaluation and come up with the prediction model, and this prediction model, we apply this to the applicant, and this applicant, once that person joins that company, how much that people will retain, how much that personnel can become active. And the reason why we need to increase this precision is that you're able to foresee the future by utilizing the people in your company. Based on the size of the company culture, we know that the active personnel changes depending on that. So a generic is not wrong. So the strength of Atteru, based on 100,000 people data, we use a quantifiable data. So we are able to predict predict in the real world. Further, we already have more than 100 companies data analysis, and you are able to utilize immediately and come up with the right analysis. So, for example, generally, what people think about stress vulnerability, when you think about that score, so the applicant can make it kind of fussy. That's the weakness of this. As such, in terms of the vulnerability score, somehow those people who have left the company tend to have a higher stress vulnerability. But in Atteru, so these kind of fuzzy, we don't utilize these scores, but by quantifying, we try to predict the future more accurately. And other than hiring, we do optimal assignments and managements and transfer. We try to improve the decision making. In many of the tools, it's just accumulation of data and visualization. But at Atteru, we also make the analysis made to make the right move. And in terms of the fee, based on the depth of the analysis, we have 3 types of reasonable plans. So, for example, if in 1,000 organizations, if you're able to improve 5% in terms of retention rate, that will reduce the reduction cost by 50 million yen. At Atteru, we used version B. We had over 200 companies utilize it in less than 1 year. And lastly, our outlook. So at the current service, you were able to quantify the active human resources. By increasing that, we're able to see the characteristics of each company. And if an applicant had been wondering whether that person would be fit better in A or B, you're able to quantify that. And at the end, by accumulating many data, we are able to reduce the mismatch between applicant and companies. That's what we want to achieve. Thank you very much for your... Thank you, Mr. Takamoto. So human resources, parameter, stress vulnerability. So there are a lot of utilizing. So I think that, what do you think? So in the venture company, Stress Finder, I believe a lot. I think in venture company, Stress Finder result is often believed and they put that into their profile. So for me, when I do AI interviews, so I know you have to do it data-driven, but being able to be active at work, that's a very complex subset. So at the end, I think people tend to choose just based on culture fit. But how can you quantify that? I have a question regarding that. So in terms of culture fit, I believe that you can also quantify that. So an organization is a collection of people's value. So from people's value, you're able to quantify that. And I think AI can predict whether that person will fit into that company. So when you talk about culture, what kind of items do you have? So that's like numeric, whether it's a culture that targets results or you want harmony. So Atteru is able to determine the right person based on these items. So going forward, the work of HR, I wonder how things are going to change. But what do you think, how HR work is going to change? So I think the current way, there's a lot of ways. So what we realize, the person who is in front of you is definitely a person who can be very active in your company. So I think the role of HR is going to motivate that person. In other words, so to provide right communication so that you have no misunderstanding between the company and the interview. So yeah, it looks very interesting. So for the job applicant, the interview is very interesting. So I would probably look whether it looks nice on Twitter or based on business model, because culture is very hard to quantify, and you only have information what's on the job applicant. somebody who's challenging, etc. But with Atteru, through that services, I would definitely like, I think that is going to be definitely usable. Thank you very much. So we do have one question. So would you like to answer? At Atteru, in terms of active human personnel, what's the definition? So it's a question from Fujimori-san. Thank you very much. So thank you. So in terms of active human resources, the definition changes according to each company. So I think the company has to decide what an active human resource is. And I think there are about 9. And in principle, the company chooses what this active human resource definition is. Thank you very much for your response. So thank you very much, Tsukamoto-san.
All right, last but not least, we'd like to welcome Books and Company, Mr. Mamoru Nomura. Books and Company promotes a novel writing project by AI. We have Hiroyuki Osone, who is a project partner, is also going to join us. Thank you. My name is Nomura with Books and Company. We use AI to write a novel automatically. Excuse me, I wanted to show a movie.
Well,
excuse me, I'm going to skip the movie. So, 2 years ago, there is a famous novel, The Princess of a Star, and we used a computer to write a sequel. And in 17 seconds, computer successfully wrote 1,000 words. But the texts, of course, sometimes don't make sense. So technical hurdle was high to overcome. But for myself, well, I have been doing editor's work for magazines and books. So I do have a lot of relations with people. So in terms of non-human writer, you may say that a monkey and dolphin are really smart, but they cannot write novels. It's only human who can write novel. And then AI or computer came in. So for example, Soseki Natsume or Osamu Dazai. By studying novels of the past, computer can write a sequel of a famous novels. That's something that we expect AI to do in the future. And of course, this is still in the work. This is still under development. But today, we have AI community. Tsukuba University graduate student who has done a great job in text generation, Mr. Hirose Oseki, is with us. He's also taking part in a METI project. He's a super programmer. So I want him to explain a little bit about this. Hello, my name is Osone with Tsukuba University. Well, thanks for the opportunity. So let me explain the background. News article developed GPT-2 attracted a lot of attention. It was too sophisticated, too dangerous. So we are wondering if it's possible to use AI to write a novel. So I successfully got the grant and took part in the project. And this is the service that I am trying to develop. The name is Buncho. It's already been developed, so I hope you can use this. So this can write synopsis and outlines and AI TRPG and emotion graph. When I was a student, I studied blogs and news and novel data. And I was able to collect more than 60 gigabyte data. And with cloud sourcing, I was able to delete unnecessary descriptions. And then, as you can see here, in the blue box, computer can write outline, and then outline can be input into the system, and AI can develop choices or options. That's more like a game. And also AI can create an emotional graph. AI reads fiction and can estimate or depict readers' emotion in graph. And this is what I would like to do in the future. First, multimediaization with speech synthesis and AI of images. TRPG movie can be developed. And also, I want to try script writing technique with a 3-act structure to develop 3-act structure. And then AI may be able to write script. And my goal is to make everyone a creator with the use of AI. On top of that, Ashizawa Kamame is a novelist and also AI developer. Kamame-san is working as a data scientist as well. This person is also a member of a committee. This Kamame-san developed AI fictions, and the fictions have been already released. And this person, he shared his vision in terms of the relation between AI and reader. I find it very interesting. As AI starts to write novels, readers and writers' relation could change. And maybe AI may be able to develop a customized fiction for a particular reader. So with that vision, we are developing, or Kamame-san is developing technology. And for us, technologically speaking, we have a lot of obstacles to overcome. But in the future, we want to develop AI that can write a novel. And I hope that AI can win an award. And with that, we'd like to continue to work on our efforts. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you. AI novelist, what's your thought? Well, thank you. You know, Python, Tezuka Osamu's manga was redeveloped. I think it's a trendy topic, a hot topic. So AI can also create a script outline, but I think it's not easy, right? Just by learning scripts. It's not easy, right? What did you do? We collected data based on web novelists, and we identified keywords as condition, and then AI can generate text. So it's based on keywords. Based on keywords, script can be developed? Yeah, to a certain extent. By the way, GPT-2, maybe you're not familiar with this. There's GPT-3. US 175 billion AI models have been developed by AI. And it's really accurate and sophisticated. It's dangerous. Do you think AI could replace novelists? You know, AI could be a competition for human. What's your thought? Yeah, but AI, we believe, is a new writer. So we would like to commit to develop and grow the AI as a new writer. Even if you have a new writer, you know, you don't lose your job. So AI could be one new writer. I'm so excited. 140 words can be generated by AI. Let me know when novel is done. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So we spent about 1 hour and 15 minutes to cover 7 startups. Thank you so much for your comments. Shita-san, how was it?
バカンさんですとか、あとは
バカンさん
スポーティブさんとか、
スポーティブ。
1秒で出てくるっていうところ。
You get results in a second. I'm very
そういっ
impressed.
たものの裏にはもう開発者の方のすごい努力が。
And I'm sure that developers did a lot of work behind the scene. So they think about users and also frontliners to develop products. I was very impressed. I had a good time. Yeah, we went through 7 startups. What's common is that their works are not going to replace with humans' jobs. So they have coaching and teaching functions, but coaching and teaching are different. AI can teach, but not coaching. I think it's important to draw a line. So in the future, so when you think about AI is not going to replace all human beings. I think we have to pick and select what AI can do. I kind of feel that we saw what's going to happen in a few years to come. So I'm going to study English and physical exercise and use EMO to share my complaints. And also I have to write AI novel starting from today. All right. Okay, that's all for today's session. Thank you so much. Okay, we would like to close Startup Showcase, introducing AI tech supporting the work of the new normal era. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.